Hello fellow orchid lovers, it's Danielle here with a spike video. So I'm going to show you in this video all of my orchids that are either in bloom or spike. And I'm super duper excited about these orchids. These four in particular. I do have more that I'm going to show you, but these four in particular I'm very excited about. The one I probably am the most excited about is this Dendrobium. So if you'll recall, I think it was last week or the week before, I posted a video requesting my viewers to give me advice. This is my first Deciduous Dendrobium, and it really wasn't spiking, and I was concerned that it wasn't going to. This is my second winter with this plant. It didn't spike last winter, so I thought maybe it wasn't going to spike again this winter, and some of you were kind enough to answer. I appreciate it, and allowed me to hold out hope that possibly I may still see spikes. Well, if this morning you heard someone exclaiming in joy and you don't know who that was me. I picked this plant up because, you know, Mondays are typically watering days for my orchids. I picked this plant up and squealed in delight because I have some spikes starting. I have one here, I have one there, I have one there. I might even have one a little further down. So I'm actually surprised that this cane spiked. I expected last year's cane to spike, but this year's cane is spiking. Now, it is a beautiful cane. It's huge, especially considering this grew in my care. I got it with this one growing. Then I grew this cane and this cane this year. So I was really happy with its growth, but then, you know, it's almost February and I hadn't seen any signs of spikes, so I didn't think I was getting spikes. But, you know, I mean, me being me, I could still do something wrong and lose this. So I'm trying to be calm about it because I could still screw this up for sure. But just the fact that I got it to start to spike is so exciting for me, and I can't really say that enough. I am super excited. I don't know if you picked up on that. So that's her, and I'll keep you updated to let you know how that goes. The next one that's in spike is actually also a dendrobium. I only have 3 dendrobiums, and of those dendrobiums, 2 are in spike. And that's kind of funny because I resisted getting dendrobiums because I, for some reason, thought they were really hard to grow and to get to spike. And so I started growing in, you know, orchids, and I mostly was doing Phalaenopsis and Cattleyas and Oncidiums, and I wasn't getting any dendrobiums because I thought I would have trouble growing them, and 2 out of 3 are spiking. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to say excited a lot in this video, so I apologize in advance. So this is my Latoria type. This is my Atroviolaceum. I will be getting more Latoria type dendrobiums in the spring. Absolutely. I love, love, love growing this plant. She has, I would say, 7 or 8 spikes. You can see a spike right there. There's another one over here that's growing between these leaf joints, you can see, and then underneath she has another one. So several of these canes have more than 1 spike. I think it's 7 or 8 spikes. Oh, there's another one right there. I think it's 7 or 8 spikes. It's hard really to count because you count the spikes on the cane and then you're like, wait, did I count these spikes already? Because it's hard to keep track of which canes you counted the spikes on and not. But either way, 7 or 8 spikes. So that'll be a really pretty show. Actually, when I got her, she had 3 spikes. So I've grown 3 new growths since I got her, and now she's got 7 or 8 spikes. So I'd say she's happy. Let's see. I have a Phalaenopsis that is spiking, finally. I have had some trouble getting my Phalaenopsis to spike, so I've been really trying to get them to do it. I changed the light levels, I increased light levels, I dropped the temperature, you know, consistently for several weeks. I added seaweed to my fertilizer. I don't know which of the aforementioned caused this orchid to spike, but I'll take it. So this is officially my second orchid that has spiked, respiked for me, not based on another spike. So it didn't branch, it didn't, you know, anything like that. It's grown its own spike in my care. So it also grew this leaf in my care, which I'm just as excited. Oh, don't hurt the dendrobium. See, I told you, I could still mess this up. Anyways, she grew this leaf in my care. I dropped the orchid, so I split the leaf when it was little, but she didn't hold it against me, and she grew a nice big leaf, actually much larger than her old leaf. So she was doing well as far as that's concerned, and then she gave me this. So this orchid is a really pretty, like a burnt red color, almost like an orangey red color. So that'll be really cool to see her blooms when they come back. So she's doing well. The other orchid that I wanted to show you is this one. I've had this orchid since October of 2017. And she has had the same spike since then. I bought her in bloom, and this is the spike that she came with. She had flowers up until here. I don't know if you can see the difference in the spike. She had flowers up until here, and then she extended to here, and then she extended again. Like, she just keeps extending her flower spike. The tip of the flower spike has not browned. She's not absorbing it, and now this branch was here. She's getting another branch. This is brand new. This just started to develop. And this one, I can feel a slight bulge. So this might be getting a branch too. And she's an overachiever. Not only is she developing branches, potentially 2 branches on her flower spike and keeping her flower spike green and extending and all that kind of stuff, she's growing a new leaf. This is the second new leaf she's grown in my care. And that's not quite enough. She's growing some new roots. So this is my overachiever. I think she might be happy. I don't know. I guess we'll be the judge of that. But yeah, so we're going to get flowers. We're going to get a new leaf. I'm getting new roots, all from the same plant. So I think, like I said, she might be happy. So I'm pretty excited about those 4 orchids. Those are my most exciting news that I wanted to share with you. It is watering day here. Oh, see my puppies? People asked to see my puppies. So my living room's a little bit of a mess right now because I'm focusing on my plants, but I don't know if you can count how many puppies there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5. And at one time we had 6. Yeah, I love dogs and animals of all types. So anyways, these are the rest of my orchids. I do have quite a few orchids, as you can see. I kind of lost count, around 80 something. So I'm not really sure what the number is now, but I was thinking of maybe doing a video updating you on the ones that aren't in bloom and spike. All of my orchids have growth of some sort. They're either growing new roots, new leaves, new growths. They're all doing magnificently. And I'm really surprised because it's really cold out. Like today, the wind chill is -20, and it's the temperature gauge outside says it's 8 degrees, but the wind chill is like what did I say, -20, -50? I hope I didn't say -50 because it's -20. I don't know what I said though, so I'm just gonna change it right now if I said it wrong. It's the wind chill outside right now is -20, but it's like 8 or 9 degrees. Which, you know, for us is not really that normal, but it's extremely windy. There's actually a gale warning. So I'm surprised that my plants are doing so well because it is so cold outside. And they all grow in windows. So although, you know, I don't keep my house at, 40 degrees, I'm sure that they do feel the cold from the windows. They've got to be. But no, they're all growing really nice. I'm sorry that I'm shaking. I apologize. Okay, so these are the rest of the orchids that I have that are in bloom or spike. So I'll just go through them really quickly. This is the orchid that I just got that had the spike that they used dye. to color the flowers. So you may, you know, notice in your local supermarket they have blue orchids. That's not a real thing. They do dye the orchids that color. So they inject dye into the flower spike and it travels up and it colors the blooms. So as you can see, I'm getting a branch there. Now this is more than likely a white orchid because that's usually the ones they use to dye. But I'm curious to see if there's enough dye still in the spike to color these blooms. So I'll keep you updated on that. This was a teeny tiny nub when I got her a week ago, and now it's progressed a fair amount. I did end up cutting the spike here because it was browning back to here because the store had kinked it. And I just kept catching it on things, and so I just cut it off because it was brown anyways. So we'll see what happens with her. And I'll keep you updated on that. My camera keeps going blurry, I apologize. This next one, this is my Kaylin. So as you can see, her blooms are doing really well. And interestingly enough with her spike had kinked here and I didn't even realize it. It was like almost kinked completely in half, but she was still blooming. She opened this bloom and that bloom, I believe. Definitely this one. While the spike was kinked. I just noticed it today because I watered her and I was like, oh crap, this thing is kinked. So I reinforced it, you know, with the an actual like spike thing here. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I reinforced it so that it wouldn't be kinked anymore, but I'm kind of shocked that she was still blooming considering the fact that her flower spike was so badly kinked. I mean, it looks kind of funny now because her flowers are at the wrong angle, but you know, it is what it is. It's still pretty to look at. And she's got more buds to come, so I'm excited about that. Her roots are in terrible shape, so I'm a little worried about her, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, she has a few new roots that, you know, I'm trying to use to hydrate her, but oh, what a terrible, terrible root system this poor orchid has. Just awful. And speaking of terrible root systems, my other orchid that I named Annalise after my friend's daughter. Beautiful, beautiful blooms. Love, love, love. Her root system's even worse. I mean, just terrible. Both of these orchids are full-size Phalaenopsis orchids that came to me in moss. You heard it. Moss. You know, usually they're in bark. But no, full-on moss. So I don't know if that's why their roots are so bad, but they are bad. Really, really bad. I was thinking of doing a video about this particular orchid actually, because this is the second orchid that I bought. This orchid, particular orchid. These blooms, this is the second one I got. The last one I got was in terrible shape and went downhill, put out a keiki and died. I had the keiki and the keiki's growing fine, but the mother plant did not do well. And smelled terrible like pesticides, and this plant smells exactly the same. So I don't know, I was thinking maybe doing a little video about that because it's just interesting to me and I thought I'd share it with you, but that's not what this video is about, so we'll move on. Let me see, we have this one right here. This one I've had for a couple weeks now. She has much, much better roots. Her flower spike is still doing really well. I bought her with this part brown, so I cut it, and then, you know, her branch started developing really, really well. She's got quite a few buds there, and this is growing like super duper fast, so I should have flowers soon on her. I don't know what color she is because she didn't have any blooms on her when I purchased her, so we're gonna find out together what color she is. This one back there with the crazy leaves, I think she grew like that because maybe in the nursery she didn't have like a set source of light and she was trying to find the light. I'm not really sure why she grew like that. Her leaves are so weird. They're not floppy. Like, they don't just flop around. They're actually very firm. So I don't think that they're like that because of a, you know, because she's deficient somewhere, although clearly she is because she has like the purple and red on her. But the leaves grew weird. So that top leaf, I would imagine has trouble photosynthesizing, but we'll see what happens. I have another orchid that has a little like weird leaves like that, and her new leaves that grew in my care grew straight. So we'll see what happens with her. Her spike is still doing pretty good. She had fairly established buds when I got her. And, you know, a lot of people say that you shouldn't unpot an orchid when they have buds because it can cause a bud blast. And I do indeed have one blasting. Whether or not the other ones are going to blast, I don't know. And I don't really care. Again, I don't know what color she is, so we're going to find that out together. But the reason why I don't care if the buds, even if all of them blast, is because when I get an orchid home, I want to get them out of the pot as soon as possible because I don't know what condition the plant is in. So for instance, this orchid right here. She has blooms open, she has buds coming. She could potentially have these flowers for months. Phalaenopsis flowers are known to stick around for several weeks, if not to several months. I've had Phalaenopsis blooms stick around for almost 3 months. So if I didn't unpot her because I was afraid of blasting her buds or her flowers, anywhere from weeks to months, she'd be sitting in that potting medium, and she has terrible roots. So by the time the flowers are gone and I unpot her, she could be in such a bad state that I lose the entire plant. So to me, it's worth unpotting it even if I lose the blooms. Even if I lose the blooms or maybe a few buds or whatever the case may be, I'm going to save the plant and she will eventually rebloom. At least that's the idea. I'd rather save the plant than keep the blooms. So I'm not really concerned. I mean, so far it's only one bud. I've had her for about a week, week and a half. Maybe it's a little longer than that. I don't really know, actually. I have such a terrible memory. But only one's blasting so far, so we'll see. I'll keep you updated to see what happens with them. But yeah, I'm not really concerned if she loses her blooms on me. This one right here, this is Kirsten. It's another of my friend's daughters. So this is Kirsten. She's doing really good. One of her blooms is fading, and I'm assuming it's because I keep her kind of close to the stove. And so maybe the air is a little too dry, so I'm going to probably make an adjustment with her. But her buds are opening, like this one opened and then this one shriveled. So I'm not really sure, but the buds aren't blasting. Her flowers otherwise are in pretty good shape. Just this one decided that she's done. So I'm not really too concerned, but the plant itself is in really good shape. The roots are really healthy, so that's good with her. Now the other one that's still currently in bloom is my other mini. I did post a video about a week or two ago about this girl because she was doing a downward spiral. All of her flowers were doing this. And I had mentioned that I've noticed with the fine-rooted mini Phalaenopsis, they tend to not really cross over to water culture very easily. And then I thought to myself that potentially it's because their roots are so fine, they need maybe a little more moisture than I'm used to giving orchids. Like typically I don't really give my Phalaenopsis orchids a lot of water. Like for instance, this is another mini phal. You can see just that bottom root and the teeny tiny bit of that root is in the water. Most of the roots are in the air and they're not, you know, sitting in the water. This one too, this is the other mini phal. Most of the roots are in the air and just a tiny bit of the bottom roots are in the water. So I realized that these are chunkier rooted orchids and maybe that's why they're okay with it, and her roots are really fine, as you can see, so maybe that's why she's objecting. So I said, you know what? She's going into a downward spiral anyways. Why don't I just try to give her more water? So I did, and her flowers perked back up. So, I mean, I'm not fooled by her. I know that she could still decide, nah, I'm still gonna throw a tantrum, and before you know it, all the flowers will be gone and all her roots will be gone and all that kind of stuff. I'm not afraid of that. Bring it on. You won't be the first one to do this to me. But I, you know, so far that experiment has panned out. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not really sure. Coincidentally, this is named after my other niece, Aubrey. They got to pick which orchids they wanted to be named after them. So this is the one that she picked. And my last two are these. So this is a mini phal that I've had for quite a while now. She came to me with the spike. It started to brown, so I cut it back. She grew this leaf in my care, which is quite a significantly larger leaf than her other leaves. And she just recently decided that she's going to put out a branch. And this happened after I increased the light levels for her. So I think the key to her being happy is, you know, lots and lots of light. She's putting out some new roots as well. So that's really good. So she's doing well. And then finally we have this orchid. I've had this orchid. I think I purchased this one in September of 2017. So I've had her a decent amount of time. And although she's grown this new leaf and now she's growing another and she's grown a lot of roots, she's never shown any signs of spiking for me. Even though I give her lots and lots of light, and I've always given her lots and lots of light. And she came to me actually with a spike, like what I call a bud, a spike bud. Can you see that down there? That came with her, and that's been there since September of 2017. I think it's September of 2017. Maybe it's 18. I don't know. I've had her at least a year, possibly longer. Regardless, she came with that. Nothing has happened with it. So I was just like, nothing ever is going to happen with this orchid. I'm just going to get leaves. That's it. Well, I saw something today when I was watering her that may be me rejoicing too early, so I'm not getting too excited. But you see that right there? That could be a new root because it's really too early to tell. But it looks like it has a mitten on it. It's really, it's almost impossible for me to film correctly for you, but I will keep you updated. I do hope and believe that it may be a spike. So until I know that it's not a spike, I'm going to believe it is and be happy about it. So those are my orchids currently in bloom or spike. I do have a few that are still in bloom and hopefully will hold on to their blooms for a while. I have a few that I don't really know what color they're going to be, so we'll learn that together. The rest of my collection, all watered and ready to go back in their windows, and my pride and joys. Really, really excited about these guys. So if you have any video ideas or anything that you want me to do a video on, feel free to ask. I do really, I want to share my journey with you, but also I want to do videos that you're interested in. So if there's something that you think you might want to see a video on, certainly mention that. I also will do videos here and there answering, questions. So if you leave a question, I may just do a video on it. And if you do want me to do a video based on, my collection and how they're doing, let me know and I'll work on that as well. But other than that, I hope you all are having a great day, and I will talk to you all next time.